So again, you cleaned it, you washed it, and it's still fogging up. So what do we do now? Now is when we go into these adjustments, and that's what was happening to me. I didn't even know that you could actually adjust this stuff. So again, back to these little guys. They can actually be turned. It's weird because I've seen videos where people actually do it with their hands. Mine are too tight to do with my hands, so I had to use needle nose pliers. They're all different. So again, it either pushes the pin lock closer into the visor or a little bit out further from the visor. And the way that the visor actually works with the pin lock is there's an edge up here all the way around the pin lock that actually gets really, really tight, acts like a seal right around where the visor is, and it prevents the fog, your breath from creating fog from going into the between the visors, and it works really well. But again, if it gets saturated, it fogs. You have to try and clean it, or at least maybe adjusting it, because one little adjustment, because mine, it took 2 or 3 times, but I kept getting fog up on top to the point where my eyes were like right at the point, I kept having to open my visor that much. So I realized it was only the top. So I did the research and I started playing with the notches, and sure enough, after a while, it sealed the top. Now I have it to the point where it's perfectly sealed. So hopefully when I put it back in, I won't be able to tell until the weather's cold again whether or not, And one of the things also, these little notches, a lot of people say, well, I adjusted it, it works fine. 3 weeks later, it's not working. Okay, so you know how we always ride and flip the visors up and down, up and down? It actually, like in this case, it probably doesn't because mine are really tight. But I've seen people that can actually do it by hand, meaning that these things are more loose on their visors. So it loosens up. The way the pin lock works, it's really weird. It's like it's flat like this on one side. The pin lock goes like this. But as you turn it, it pushes the visor, the pin lock in like this. So sometimes this tends to roll back. So therefore creating that little space up top, and that's where you get the fog. So we're gonna put this back in and I'll show you there's a couple of things, a couple of tests that you can do to find out whether it's time to throw this guy away or not. So let's go ahead and put this back on. And I've waited probably, maybe 25 minutes from the time that I actually watched this. And again, it's summer. If it was winter, I would not put it back in. And let me show you a little trick to actually put it back in. You just bend it. So one of the tricks, it's easy. Like if you bend it backwards, kind of like this, you just connect it to the thing and then just let it snap back. All right, so you have a pretty tight seal there. But there are 2 tests that you can do. One, like we did before, is we're going to actually do that. And what I do is do it all the way around the visor without hyperventilating and fading, of course. And what I'm noticing is making sure that it fogs up top and not where I want. So far, so good. I don't fake. So actually, it's perfect. There is absolutely no fog going inside of this pin lock, and that's a perfect seal right along that. It's funny because when I first did that, and I saw a video of someone doing that, and I did it right up on top, I kept getting fog right there. So that's why it created so much fog that day. And again, mine are pretty tight, so I'm not going to mess with them. But there are some out there that are not as tight as these, and people do it by hand. Those can, as you flip the visor up and down over time, these can actually move. So the other test that you can do is you take a piece of paper, and you get a piece of paper and you slide it up against the edges like that, and it should be a really tight seal. If that paper goes in, that means the seal is broken. And it's pretty tight. So keep running the paper along the side there, and so far everything's good. And there is no broken seal there. It's all good. So that's the other test you can do. So once you pass those 2 tests, you're basically good to go. If one of those tests doesn't pass, maybe it is time to replace the pin lock. So I've had mine for a while. They last, but as long as you clean them correctly, I mean, these things will last for a long time. So if you're, again, using harsh materials, you're just going about it the wrong way as far as like circular motions, you're going to create all kinds of micro scratches, and that's not really good for these. So you'll notice it in the sun when you're going towards the sun, you see all these striations on your visor. Not a cool thing. So anyway, so that's pretty much it. Now just put it on the visor. One of the things also, if you're someone that has to buy visors every 5, 6, 7 months because you just think that's how long a visor should last, you're doing something wrong. It's probably the way you're cleaning it. It's like again, one motion with a very, very soft microfiber towel, and that's it. There's no like, don't be rubbing on it. Another thing that also, like when you're on the road and you get a lot of bugs and you just stop at a gas station and you want to clean it off, don't just get something wet and start rubbing on it. A good trick to do is actually, gas stations always have that little water dispenser for your windshield and stuff. Get some paper towels, wet some towels, and just put them on your visor, but don't rub. Don't rub it. Just leave it on your visor for probably 3 or 4 minutes. And then after that, just one gentle rub, because the moisture from those towels, it just softens all the bug, debris, and all that stuff up. And you just swipe it off one time, and that's it. Don't be doing this when it's dry and you're trying to just get everything off at once. That's how you create all kinds of scratches. Another thing I personally do is I carry out baby wipes, one in my pockets. And what I do is same thing, I'll stop while we're talking, with my friends and stuff, and I'll put the baby wipes, just put them on there, let it soak in, and then one smooth wipe across. That's it. So this visor is going to last me for years if I keep doing that, because there aren't many scratches. There are little ones, but again, that's from the pitting from the debris from the road. So there's not much I can do about that. One last trick that I do is anytime I stop, because again, remember it's porous, so it does absorb moisture like a sponge does. What I tend to do is when I stop and I store my helmet away, always leave the visor up. I never close it, because there's a lot of moisture in the helmet between your sweat and whatever's going on in there. You leave it closed, and you put it in a closet or a place wherever you store it. The moisture builds up with the heat and all that stuff. It just builds up, so it just adds more absorption to the pin lock. So just leave the visor open. Anytime I take it off, I just leave it open. So let's go ahead and put this back on the helmet. Okay, so it's on, and it's pretty clear. Double check this guy. Perfect. All right, so that's perfect. But again, I'm going to store it like this, and that's it. Basically it. So let me get Mr. Rambo over here. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye from Mr. Rambo and I. And make sure to like, share, subscribe. Comment down below, because I want to see if you have any new tricks or something maybe I don't know. That's why I watch these YouTube videos, because I don't know everything, so I want to find out more tricks. So again, a lot of what I've learned through YouTube and reading about it. So again, guys, subscribe. See you next time.